Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I've been meaning to film a Q&A for a while. I announced it on Instagram and everything a while ago, but I just haven't got around to filming it. So I figured I'd just do that today since I've got a little bit of spare time. In the background, I've just got some plain old Planet Coaster content playing. Let me know, by the way, guys, if you want me to make some Planet Coaster videos. So the first question here comes from TheKnexMaker, who asks, how do you make your track so smooth? To be honest, it's just experience plus knowing how TheKnex works. You have to think about the forces as well, right? So if the train is going to be at its maximum velocity anywhere near the ground, so if it's just come down from a hill or it's just come down from a loop or anything like that, that's going to be the maximum velocity. And with TheKnexMaker, I feel like track flexing plus track smoothness is the key for keeping speed. So if you can make your track really smooth, then you're going to be in a really good position to preserve a lot of speed. So that is obviously why making track really smooth is really important, but how exactly do I go about that? Like I said, just comes down to experience and the amount of time that you have building. Having a lot of pieces does help as well, I'm not going to lie. But I guess if I just had to pick a couple of tips to use, it would be to overlap your rods. So for example, don't use any less than 6 cross ties for every length of rod that you use for your support. And then make sure that every 9 inches or so of track, you have at least 3, possibly 4 connections to whatever structure that you're using. And then make sure along the side of that track, you use more rods with the 45-degree angle connectors to just stiffen up the track. And one final tip is, if you can and you have the extra tubing, thread the tubing through these 3 areas of the cross ties. Nothing ever normally goes in there for me except for tubing, and that tubing helps not only stiffen up the track, not only smoothen it, but it also really helps on things like heartline rolls and anywhere where the track is twisting. Next question comes from Coaster Obsessed. What's the fastest way to success with TheKnexMaker? Now, success you can define in 2 different ways, right? Like, there's fantastic builders out there who will never see monetary or viewership success, and that's just because of the content that they make. You know, you can build the best, most realistic TheKnexMaker roller coasters in the world, but if you don't know how to make content and market yourself, well, then you're not going to gain any sort of viewership. And in today's world, viewership is kind of where the success is. However, if you define your success by how well you build a coaster and how well the coaster turns out, then quite simply you just need to be focusing a lot more on building a really good coaster. So yeah, it's kind of not really a straight answer, but I mean, utilize YouTube Shorts definitely, but I wouldn't spam post the same exact content just because you're trying to get a video out of it. The next question comes from X-World X Champion X, and they ask, how many Screaming Serpent sets do you estimate that you own? To be honest, I think, if I had to guess, it's somewhere in the region of between 20 and 30. And if I had to put a number on it, I would say 25, 26. But then I don't just have Screaming Serpent sets either. I also have Ripping Rocket sets. I also have Storm Mountain sets. I also just have generic TheKnexMaker that I've bought over the years from buying a big, pile of TheKnexMaker online, like a bit like somebody's old collection. And I don't know what sets are included with that. So I have a lot of stuff like that as well. But all in all, I think I'm estimating I have around 50,000 pieces. The next question comes from X Marks the Spot, and they ask, how do you get so many cross ties and pieces? How do you get so many cross pieces? I think he means cross ties and all the other parts for your roller coasters. You just got to keep looking on places like Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Spot, Gumtree, all sorts of different places. And to be honest, if you want to build up your collection really quickly, you have to look daily. When I was trying to build up my collection, I had to look daily. Ever think about designing real roller coasters? To be honest, no, because that would actually require a lot of effort. You'd have to go to school, you'd have to go to university, you'd have to get a lot of physics and science and maths and engineering degrees. And to be honest, I'm not an academic person, and sitting at a desk all day, it really did not do well for me. What was your study or your work? I bet it's some kind of engineering. definitely not. Very similar to the last question. Again, not for me, an academic career like that with a lot of pressure on it I wouldn't want that. And next we got 2 questions asking about me possibly making a dueling coaster. It would be interesting. I've definitely thought about it before, but to be honest, with the detail that I like to put into my builds, I just don't think that I just don't think I have the pieces required. Don't get me wrong, it would be interesting. I would like to try it one day, but I just don't think I could. What is your favourite coaster that you have ever made? For me personally, it's Shambhala. That's definitely my favourite coaster I've ever made. And that's actually my favourite coaster I've ever ridden as well. What's the most amount of money you've ever spent on a project? Well, this could be answered in 2 different ways. You've got direct spend on a project, or you've got indirect spend on a project. Now, direct spend would be something like my magnetic braking system. I directly spent money on buying the aluminium bar and the magnets to try and get that, braking system to work. And then you've got indirect spending, which is just the generic, me collecting more sets of K'NEX or more sets of Screaming Serpents over time. But the magnetic braking system was the most I ever spent on an individual project. That was around £10 for the aluminium and then around £15 for the magnet. I guess if you want to get more technical, something that I use on every single build would be the coaster trains. Now, for all the screws, it works out to around about £5 for a full train, and then for the ceramic bearings, they work out about £3 or £4 each. Depending on the length of the train that I have for a particular project, it could scale anywhere from £50-60 for a small Eurofighter train, all the way up to like £250 just for the bearings for like a large train, like a Colossus or a Shambhala recreation. So the 3D printed trains are the most expensive part of K'NEX once you actually have the K'NEX that you want to build with. But all in all, I say over the last 4 years, I've probably spent, I'd say no more than about £1,500 on K'NEX, and then around £250 on ceramic bearings, and I've probably spent around £150 on 3D printed filament. How do you make the track connections so even with each other? That is all to do with the way that you build the track. I think I mentioned something about this earlier on in the video, but you basically have to just overlap the sections of track. Just make sure that you don't have 2 rods that are exactly the same length and next to each other. They need to be overlapped. And the final question is, what are your top 5 credits? For those of you who don't know, credits is something that the roller coaster community uses to describe a roller coaster. It basically means if you go on a roller coaster that you haven't gone on before, you've got a new credit. The simple way of saying it is, what's my top 5 favourite roller coasters? And for me, that would be Shambhala, definitely at number 1, Red Force at number 2, probably put Nemesis Inferno at number 3, The Swarm at number 4, and then probably Wicker Man at number 5. Anyway, that does it for the sort of Q&A portion of this video. I just wanted to sort of leave a couple of little questions for you guys at the end of the video though. The first one is related to K'NEX, and that is simply, do you guys think that you'd want to watch me build coasters live on stream? If I was going to do live streams, I'd set it up properly, not just like go live and ignore the chat. I'd want to set it up properly with graphics and, all of that kind of stuff. So let me know, was that something you guys would want to watch? And then secondly, would you guys be interested in possibly watching any Planet Coaster videos or any other roller coaster simulator videos? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know any other video suggestions that you have in the comment section below. See you guys later.